Gentlemen and female gentlemen, Warhammer 40k lore, Leman Russ, the Wolf King. He is the fifth Primarch that we're going to be talking about. I'm very excited to see what we got. I've loved the lore dives. Let's see what we got.
There are those who undervalue the penal battalions, but they should consider this. Should a man who has wronged the Emperor be allowed to wrong him further?
Ooh,
For each man executed is a man who can no longer serve.
True.
And to fail in service to the Emperor
True.
is the greatest of sins.
Could we please start executing people for treason again? Bring back executions for treason.
Loyalty is a trait that defines the heroic Primarchs who refuse the temptations of chaos.
True.
Each Primarch weighed the cost of betraying their Imperium by clashing blades and bolters with their brothers. For some, the Imperium would be secondary, yet compatible with their true allegiances, whilst for others their allegiance to the Emperor would be unshakable. But there is only one Primarch whose loyalty is truly ironclad.
Alright.
With no hesitation to reject the poisoned chalice of chaos. Though seen by many of his brothers as a butcher of men, he would nonetheless be the Emperor's greatest executioner and loyal servant, the Wolf King of Fenris, Leman Russ.
I thought he was like a violent barbarian type of guy. I had no idea he was considered some sort of super loyal soldier.
The young Primarch would land on the icy death world of Fenris, his incubation pod plummeting into the flank of a vast mountain. Despite the harsh weather, the infant would be found by a she-wolf, a gigantic.
Every Primarch gets teleported to another planet. This guy was literally raised by wolves! That's crazy. He's the Emperor's personal assassin? Holy crap.
Fenrisian Thunderwolf. Despite its ferocious nature, the wolf would nurture the child and raise it within its wolf pack. A third child to raise alongside its own children, the male wolves, whom would be known as Freki and Gedi. During the season of Hellwinter, the child and the wolf pack would scavenge for food within the territory of
I have two wolves within me. One is Flecky and one is Gedi.
Thengir, king of the Russ. Escaping with their food, the king would send a raiding party after the wolves, armed with poisonous arrows and blades of sharpened steel. The child would attempt to defend them, being injured trying to protect his adoptive mother and killing dozens of men with his bare hands.
Oh my god!
The she-wolf would die.
Leman Russ was a child and took on a full military barehanded? Okay, bro's the goat,
But the tribesmen of the Russ would realize the creature bearing its fangs to be a small boy and lower their weapons. The child would be led to their king.
We realized he was a small boy after he wiped out half our infantry.
And with his brothers, Freki and Gedi at his side, the chieftain would see great potential in the young boy and order him to be given a place within his household. The boy would learn to laugh and to sing and understand his human traits.
Oh my god!
Even at such a young age, he would learn to speak and master the battle techniques of axes and swords. With this, he would
I feel like this was a big mistake.
Be named by the king, Leman of the Russ. His exploits would be legendary on Fenris, said to battle entire armies of rival tribes alone, to uproot great oak trees with his bare hands, and to even wrestle the gigantic Fenrisian mammoths of the wilds. With
Wrestle mammoths? Uproot oak trees? Nah, dude, that's crazy.
time, the aging king would die, leaving the Russ alone as his successor. Under the rule of their new Wolf King, the people of Fenris would thrive, the Russ's deeds even reaching the scouting parties of the Emperor of Mankind. Recognizing these incredible feats to be those of his son, the Emperor traveled to Fenris.
They're like, okay, so there's this one planet where there's this one kid who literally is wrestling mammoths with his bare hands. He's like, that must be my son! Send in the military!
And disguised himself to venture into the court of the Russ. Meeting Leman, the
Emperor doesn't usually do that himself.
Emperor would challenge the youth to free trials. Knowing the proud Russ would not bend his knee without proof of his acumen, the Wolf King would decide the nature of the challenges.
Bro, this is so cool. Wait, so the Emperor is doing some challenges to win respect from his son? That's insanity.
First, the two would indulge in an eating challenge. The Emperor would eat more than any man at the Russ's table, save for the Wolf King. For the second
Leman Russ out-ate the Emperor.
challenge, the two would drink, and by the time the Emperor had drunk his 6th barrel of Fenrisian mead, the two would conclude that there was no more mead to drink. The Wolf King would drain every ounce of alcohol within the feast hall. Failing both challenges, the Emperor would grow angry,
Oh my god, I can't believe it. This is insane. His kid is actually beating him in these challenges that he's setting. This is wild. Bro, it's crazy because the Emperor he's like, not to insult the God Emperor of mankind or anything, but he's kind of a dick to like some of his kids, you know? But like, he had so much respect for this guy, he ran along with this.
Trying the Wolf King as a drunkard and a glutton, unable to achieve anything more in life, with exception to stuffing his face and bellowing hollow boasts of glory. The Russ would declare his final challenge, drawing his sword from its scabbard. They would face each other in combat, the Emperor throwing his disguise to one side and revealing the splendor and glory of his power armor. The Emperor would not lose, and within an hour of being knocked unconscious by the Allfather's power glove, Leman would admit defeat and swear fealty to the Emperor with a
Bro. He's like, okay, single combat. And he beat the living shit out of his son.
broken fang jutting from his bloodied smile.
Bro.
Under the tutelage of the Emperor, Leman would learn of the Imperium's star-spanning technologies, understanding the finer points of High Gothic, and earning the Emperor's approval to engage in the Great Crusade. He would meet the only other brother to so far be found
Horus.
during the Scouring, Horus Lupercal.
That is insanity! So basically, all of these guys, they all had connections to Horus. That's why Horus was so effective at convincing half of the Primarchs to join him.
Horus would see his new brother as a savage and treat him with jealousy, masked as disdain. But the Russ would nonetheless seek to ease tensions between himself and his brother. Leman would then be given command of his legion, the Space Wolves, and gifted his thrice-blessed suit of power armor and the legendary Frostblade, Mjolnir, forged with the teeth of the great Kraken of Fenris. The blade was said to be strong enough to cleave its ice mountains in two. During the Great Crusade, Leman Russ would gain a reputation
I love the random relics and stuff in 40k.
as a cunning and fierce warrior. Whilst fighting the Wheel of Fire campaign, the Space Wolves would lose a third of their legion's numbers to the onslaught of orcs. Yet for his efforts, the Russ would be rewarded with the fortress monastery known as the Fang to be built on Fenris. He would also be gifted the Spear of Russ, forged by the Emperor's own hand, which had previously been known as the Dionysian Spear. Though Leman would see little of the Emperor during the Great Crusade, he would be mentored and tempered by Malcador the Sigillite's wisdom.
Okay, alright, by Malcador. I was so afraid they would be like, he buddied up with the Adeptus Mechanicus. Like, no!
Forming between them an unshakable bond.
Look up the interaction between the lion and the wolf, the most legendary duo bromance in the story. Most dangerous duo in the series. Damn. Alright, we gotta look into that. I'll be real, I love 40k lore. I already read a couple of the books of 40k. Like, dude, I started off this lore dive just looking into this, but I read a couple of the books.
Due to his fiery temper and boisterous personality, the Russ would inevitably clash with his brother Primarchs. During the Dulan campaign, the Space Wolves would fight alongside the Dark Angels. The Dulan planet's leader would verbally insult Leman Russ, stoking his rage, and leading him to vow to kill him personally.
Damn.
As the two legions besieged the throne room, Leman would burst through the doors at the moment where Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the
I actually really like Lionel Johnson. I think he's kind of the GOAT.
First Legion, would behead the planet's ruler. Denied his retribution, Leman Russ would demand penance from the Lion for his lost honor. The Lion would refuse.
You killed the guy that I wanted to kill, and now you owe me. Okay, you owe me. I wanted to kill that guy.
Leading to the Primarchs to brawl for an entire week without pause.
Damn.
On the 7th day, the Russ would realize the immaturity of their actions and laugh uncontrollably.
7 days.
With the Lion seeing this jest as a mockery to his honor, he would use the opportunity to strike the Russ unconscious. And as the Primarch was roused from his dormant state, the First Legion would leave the system, fueling a feud between the legions which would last into the millennia to follow.
Damn, I didn't know that there was this
with
beef.
Both chapters adopting the custom of their chosen champions dueling for the honor of their Primarchs. Leman Russ would also be sent to retrieve Angron, Primarch of the World Eaters, to be brought...
that doesn't go well. Pretty sure Angron falls to chaos.
Before the
I didn't do the Angron deep dive yet. Did I? No. Yeah? Did I? Didn't I? Trying here. I'm trying to keep track. All right. Let's see. Nuxanor, Warhammer 40k Primarchs. All right. Let's see. I didn't do it yet. I did Perturabo, Fulgrim, Lionel Johnson, and most recently, the Jagatai Khan.
Emperor. The Red Angel had sought to implant his legions Astartes with the Butcher's Nails brain implants,
No, that's
to
not
which
good.
the Emperor would demand him to relent, sending his most loyal son to bring Angron to justice. On Malkova, the two Primarchs would clash. The Russ would restrain his martial prowess as he was instructed to by the Emperor. However, this restraint would lead to the Russ being bested by the Red Angel.
Damn. So he was holding back and he ended up getting beaten by Angron.
And his legion would undergo the foul surgeries of the Butcher's Nails. Despite his many rivals, Leman was regarded with respect by some of his brothers, particularly Robute Guilliman, who saw Leman as one of 3 other Primarchs.
I need to do the Guilliman one, because people tell me he's like the main character of the Primarchs.
Who always served the Emperor's will with utmost conviction, the others being Rogel Dawn, Sanguinius, and Ferrus Manus, regarded by Guilliman as the Dauntless Few. Guilliman even proposed that his legion of the Ultramarines could win any war outright if only one of those Primarchs, including the Russ, fought beside him. Though as the Great Crusade came to a close, Leman Russ would earn a nickname within the inner circle of his brother Primarchs, the Emperor's Executioner. During the Horus Heresy,
that's kind of crazy. That goes kind of hard, not gonna lie.
Magnus the Red would defy the Emperor's decree of the Treaty of Nicaea.
Yeah, bro was
attempting to warn the Emperor of the betrayal of Horus Lupercal. Magnus would irrevocably damage the Emperor's Webway project.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel so bad for this dude. Really, I really do. He's my favorite Primarch, I think. I know, hot take. But look, I didn't do the lore dive specifically on him yet, but I really like Magnus.
Flooding the Webway with demons and dooming humanity to continue traversing the ever deadlier warp.
I mean, yeah, he definitely flooded the Webway with demons and shit, but like, I mean, he had good intentions, you know? He did cause the apocalypse. Wait until you learn about Sanguinius. I keep hearing that Sanguinius and the Salamander guy, the black dude, apparently those are like the fan favorites. So I'm still waiting on that.
And incur its wrath for millennia. Sent by the Emperor, Russ would be tasked with bringing Magnus to Terra to face judgment, but be manipulated by orders from Horus Lupercal. His orders now stating to eliminate the sons of Magnus. Prospero would burn, and the 1,000 Suns would be decimated, but Magnus would nonetheless escape into the warp.
You're telling me Leman Russ was able to butcher the 1,000 Suns and cause Magnus to retreat? That's crazy.
Leaving Prospero, the Space Wolves would be forced into a rout by the Alpha Legion, taking shelter in the Alaxis Nebula. Surrounded and abandoned by the White Scars Legion when called for aid, Russ would confide with Bjorn the Fell-Handed, stating that blindly serving the Emperor as his executioner was a grave mistake. Vowing to forge his own path, Leman Russ would lead his forces in a desperate last stand against the 20th Legion. The Space Wolves would be saved.
I'll be real, I really like the Alfarius Legion. I can't wait to do the lore dive on some of these guys.
Begrudgingly by the Dark Angels and return to Holy Terra. During his time on Terra, Russ would aid Malcador and the Knights Errant in planning the assassination of Horus Lupercal. Dawn and Sanguinius would implore Russ and his legion to stay on Terra to defend against the oncoming traitor forces, but Leman would resolve to kill Horus himself. With the aid of the Knights Errant, Russ would track the location of the vengeful spirit and prepare to duel Horus Lupercal. With the aid of his rune priests, the Russ would look for a weakness in the Warmaster by traveling to the Underverse, known by the Imperium as the Warp, and venture to Surtur's Door. The Russ would confront the Earl King, a warp entity that collected the souls of Fenrisians who die outside of battle.
This seems like
before he could be consumed by the Earl King's
This seems like a really wild random side tangent in his entire storyline.
Wolfen, Leman Russ offered to complete one of 4 tasks in exchange for his soul. Accepting his terms, the Earl King challenged Leman to drink the damned soul of Amarok's bowl until it was dry. Second, he would wrestle an ancient crone, and finally, move the Earl King's great slumbering wolf. Leman Russ had failed all challenges, but for his 4th, he would need to explain what the challenges he had attempted to accomplish really were. Russ assessed that the bowl represented the changing seasons of Fenris, the old crone was a manifestation of age, and that the wolf was death. The chamber crumbled, and a mirror of...
I'm telling you, man, bro watched the Puss in Boots movie, and he was like ready to take on the old crone.
Russ, dressed in finery, would reveal the secret of the Dionysian spear. It held a portion of the Emperor's power, and could illuminate the truth to those who were pierced by its tip. The false Russ would impale Leman with the spear, revealing the true nature of the Primarchs. Despairing for a time, Russ would nonetheless emerge from Surtur's Door, with the knowledge that he had the capacity to end the war should he win his duel with Horus.
I mean, yeah.
With the aid of his wolf
You take out the main guy that's fueling the entire rebellion, and it stops the rebellion. Actually, yes.
lords, Leman Russ would ambush the vengeful spirit and confront Horus. Offered to join the traitors, Russ flatly refused Horus's offer and fought the Warmaster.
I did not know he fought Horus 1v1. Oh my god.
Allowing a chance for Horus to wound him with his lightning claw, Russ would use this feint to impale Horus with the Spear of Russ. However, due to a moment's hesitation, his strike would land, but not be fatal. Badly wounded, Russ would be dragged from the battle by Bjorn the Fell-Handed and Grimnar Blackblood as hundreds of space wolves swarmed the Warmaster. Russ would fall into a comatose state as Abaddon the Despoiler pursued the depleted space wolves to the Yarant system. With the aid of Ravengard Primarch Corvus Corax, the space wolves would manage to escape the Yarant system, with Leman Russ passing.
Wait, wasn't Corvus Corax a bad guy? Didn't he fall to chaos? Wait, hold up. Why would he run defense for the space wolves?
On the Dionysian spear to Bjorn. The Russ would not be present for the Siege of Terra, and would not return until well after the entombing of the Emperor on the Golden Throne, returning to Fenris one last time.
He's a good guy? Well, I didn't get to him yet. I didn't do his lore dive yet, so obviously I don't know. But alright, Corvix is loyal. Okay. Didn't know. Alright, cool. I was thinking of Conrad Kurz. That's the guy I was thinking of.
Leman Russ would host a great feast, then address his sons before embarking into the Eye of Terror.
Listen but closely.
Wait, what? So he tried to preemptively wipe out Horus, and he failed because he hesitated. And, he ran away, and by the time he got back, the war was already over. The Emperor was already gone. So he marched into the Eye of Terror to defeat chaos at its core. And that's why he's not present for 40k.
For my life breath is all but spent. There shall come a time far from now when our chapter itself is dying. And as I am now dying, and our foes shall gather to destroy us, then, my children, I shall listen for your call in whatever realm of death holds me. And come I shall, no matter what the laws of life and death forbid. At the end I will be there, for the final battle, for
So I guess he's not coming back for a while.
the wolf time.
This tale would be retold every 1,000 years by Bjorn the Fell-Handed, the now Great Wolf of Fenris.
So Bjorn is the guy in charge now of the Space Wolves, because the Primarch is in the Eye of Terror fucking shit up until he could eventually come back.
The Space Wolves would on occasion scout the galaxy in a great hunt in search for their Primarch, but to this day, to no avail.
Wow, that's a great story.
He's
the ultimate loyalist, the Emperor's executioner, and he failed. He failed to execute what's his name? The angry guy, Angron, because he held back for a second. He failed to defeat Horus because he held back for a second, and he wasn't even present for the Siege on Terra because of his injuries. Completely dejected, he wanders the galaxy until the final battle. Truly a tragic tale, honestly. Honestly, a tragic story, but a really good one. Jagatai Khan was loyal, but he actually just fully committed. Two little tiny itty bitty, tiny whiny little hesitations, and he ruined his life. And that's why he's sad and just wandering around. Really good. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed. I did. I really like the lore. I really like the Warhammer lore. Warhammer is definitely one of my favorite lore franchises of all time. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, who's next? What's the next Primarch? Hold up. Hang on. Who's the next Primarch? Let's check. Who's next? Spoilers for the next episode. Let's see who's next on the playlist. Who's the next Primarch? Oh my god. Rogel Dorn. All right, Rogel Dorn is next. See ya in the Rogel Dorn episode. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.